We're going to start with Photoshop navigation tools you will use often. Part 1, Layers dialog box. And we're going to be demoing on this cute little puppy here. So the first thing we want to do is we want to make sure that we draw the symbols associated with the terms that we're learning, explain where it's located in Photoshop, and explain how it is used. Okay, so number 1 is Control plus. Control plus is on the keyboard, so what you're going to do is you're going to hold down the Control and you're going to push plus, and what happens is we are able to zoom in on the dog. Okay, if we go Control minus, it zooms out. Okay, so these are very handy keys that we will be using often when we are doing assignments in this class. You'll be going Control plus oftentimes to look at details, and Control minus to back out to see how it looks. You will find this, it is located on the keyboard. Okay, Control plus and Control minus. It's located on the keyboard and it's used to zoom in and zoom out. You could also change the brush size on the keyboard. There's a toggle key on the keyboard, and it's the bracket key. Okay, the bracket key will make a brush smaller, and the bracket key will also make a brush bigger. So if we come over here and we click on our brush, right, here's our brush tool. Okay, this is our quick selection tool. This is our brush tool. And if we come over here, we'll notice that this now has changed. So depending upon the tool we are working on, the top toolbar, the horizontal toolbar, will change. This is the vertical toolbar here. We've got our brush tool. And if we click right here, we can change our brush size. Okay, so here it's 27, very small, all the way up to 2500, which is very large. So let me undo that real quick. I just accidentally painted it because we had our red selected here. So I'm going to use the bracket key on the keyboard to make it smaller. Now the video doesn't show the brush size getting smaller, unfortunately. That's one of the downfalls of this particular software. But if you push the bracket key, you will see a circle in the center getting smaller, or a circle getting larger, depending upon which bracket key you choose. If the key on the left bracket key, makes it smaller. The right bracket key makes the brush larger. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to work with our layers dialog box. It's located on the right bottom of the workspace. So right here you will see a box, and it's called layers. Okay, you need to make sure this box is shown here. If you do not see it, you will find it under Window, Layers. Okay, so make sure there's a little check mark next to it. Okay, if there's a check mark, then we know that it's open. Okay, so right now we have our dog photo open, and that's the first layer that we see here. Okay, so we're going to create what's called a new fill or an adjustment layer. So we're going to come down here to the bottom, and there's a whole bunch of different symbols. This right here is our create new fill or adjustment layer. Okay, it's a circle, and half of it is like kind of a dark blue, and the other half is white. And if you let your mouse just hang over it, it comes up, the title comes up, and it says create new fill or adjustment layer. So I want you to draw that symbol on the line provided. And we're just going to show you how you can use this. So first, you can use this black and white adjustment layer by turning the picture black and white. So we're going to go ahead and create a new fill or adjustment layer, and we're going to do it in black and white. So what's happened now, it creates a new layer on the top, it turns everything black, and this is a great way to convert your image to black and white. And what's nice about it is it adds a non-destructive layer above the original layer. So it's not impacting the original layer. Right here is the original layer. Okay, so this is non-destructive. If we click on this little layer mask thumb right here, we know it's selected because there's like a kind of like a line, like a double line that goes around the layer mask. That's called a layer mask. If we click on that, we can use our paintbrush to remove some of the black and white, revealing this layer below. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to make sure I have my brush selected, and I'm going to choose a brush size around 70. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that my foreground color on the vertical toolbar is set to black. So how we do that is we toggle between them like this. We click on this little arrow here, and it toggles between the white and the black. We want to make sure that the black is on top. So on your worksheet for number 6, you should draw this symbol here, the foreground, this little symbol here, and you should color in the top one black and the bottom one white. Okay? Because that's a proper example of number 6. So now what we're going to do is we're going to come over here, and we're going to remove this black and white, revealing the color below. You can see here how the layer mask changes. You see that little black up there? That's because what we're doing is we're erasing this black and white. We're erasing it, and by erasing it we see black, and it reveals the color below it. Okay? And we could go all around. We could have our dog in black and white, and we could have our background in color. So I'm just going to go all the way around like this and make the background all color. I'm actually going to increase the size of the brush a little bit so it goes a little faster. So I use my bracket key to increase the size, or I can come over here and I can increase the size as well. Either way works. Alrighty, so there we go. So we got our, not perfect along the edges yet. You would want to go Control Plus to really, you know, get in close. So here we go. Move this over, and I'm going to make my brush size a little smaller here. That way I can come in real close on the dog here and make it, and just fine tune it a bit. Move this up. I'm going to show you another way to okay, so we're going to come over here to Window, and I'm going to open up the Navigator tool. Here we go. And this allows me to just move quickly around so I don't have to keep scrolling up and down. Sometimes that can be kind of hard. So I can just kind of go all the way around carefully. Just selecting this all along the edge so it's nice and close. Okay. I hope you guys are having a nice day today. I sure am. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to zoom out again, and that looks a lot better. Okay, so you guys should have, for number 8, you should draw the brush tool, and that's this little symbol right here. You should explain where it's located, which is on the vertical toolbar. And you should explain how it's used. It's used to paint color or remove color when you're using a layer mask. Now, if you look at this layer mask, you can see that the black is completely outlining the dog here. And you've got this white area, so the dog is in black and white, and the black represents all of the black and white that's been erased, revealing the color below. So now for number 9, you should draw the same setup here. Background color is set to white. You want to draw the symbol, explain that 6 and 9 are located on the vertical toolbar, and you can explain that they are used to pick different kinds of colors. If I click on that, you can see there's all different types of colors. And it's also used on the layer mask when we set it to black on the layer mask to remove color. Now, if I want to put color back in, I would use the toggle symbol to switch the foreground color and the background color. Okay, so I'm going to come over here and I'm going to put the white on top and the black on bottom. So go ahead and draw this for number 10. You're going to draw a white square on top and a black square on bottom. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and remove. I'm going to make my brush size much larger. I'm going to put all the color back. And there we go. I put all the color back because, all the black and white back. That's what I meant to say. I'm going to put all the black and white back. So if we look at our layer mask here, it's completely white again. Now, what's really cool, so we can undo this if we want. We come over here to History. It shows all our steps. And we can come back to where we stopped off, where we had it all nice and all the black background completely in color and the dog in black and white. Okay, this is exactly. Now we're gonna move on to number 11. Use the mini foreground background symbol to set your default foreground background, which tends to be black over white. All right, so that's what this is right here. So, if you want, you can also change it yourself. Like I could put this in black, say OK, and then come over here and change that back to white. And that's kind of the long way. I recommend you just toggle. That's much easier. All right, so we're going to move on now to delete layer. Now there's 2 ways to delete a layer. Okay, one way is to click on the layer that you want to delete. And that would be this one right here. You can take this and drag it down here to the garbage can. That's one way to do it. Another way is just to select your layer, go to Edit, There's normally a delete selection. Alright, I'm sorry. You need to go to layer. I got confused here. You need to go to layer, okay, which makes sense because this is our second layer here, and go to delete layer. Yes. Okay. So you want to draw the symbol, which is the little garbage can down here. You want to explain where it's located in Photoshop at the very bottom of the layers dialog box, or layer delete. If you go up to the horizontal toolbar up here, you go to layer delete, and it is used to remove a layer. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to move on to 14, create a new layer. That's this symbol right here. And if we click on this, what it looks like is a little paper with its edge folded up. This is called create a new layer. Okay, so if you click on that, it creates a brand new layer that has nothing in it. Okay, you must add something to this layer. Okay, it's blank. If I turn it off, it doesn't impact my image at all. Okay, so the purpose of this, so you want to draw that little symbol. It's like a little paper with the little corner edge turned up. And it's located at the very bottom of the layer dialog box. And you use this to, for example, we're going to be using it to add a vignette, to add something to the picture. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to toggle this. In fact, if you see this little mini symbol right here, this is kind of like our preset. So if I click on that, it'll always make this go back to black and this one to go back to white. Okay? Unless I've toggled it here, then actually look at that. If I toggle it to white on top, black on bottom, even if I click on that, it's going to automatically make this go back to black and that on white. So I'm going to add in a black vignette. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to pour in the black. There we go. It's made this layer go black. Okay. Now we're going to go on to 15. We're going to add a layer mask. This right here, this circle, it's kind of like a gray circle with a white circle in the middle. That's a layer mask. So we're going to click on this. We're going to add a layer mask. Okay? And we know this layer mask is selected because of the double line that goes around it. So now I want to reveal the dog below. But the only way I can do that is by using a paintbrush. And I also noticed that I've got white on top and black on bottom. So what's going to happen? Does anybody remember what's going to happen when you have white on top, black on bottom? Well, I made my brush nice and big, about 800, okay? About 800 or so. Okay, if I click on this right now, which I'm doing, I'm going here, I'm clicking, nothing's happening. I need to have black on top, white on bottom. So now, if I go like that, it reveals my dog below. Okay. So you want to add this symbol. You want to add a layer mask to help you reveal the layers below. And you have to use the brush tools in conjunction with the layer mask to make it work, to basically remove part of the black. You can see right here it shows up on the layer mask. Every area that's in black is erased and it's revealing the little dog below. Okay, so the purpose of the layer mask is to help us reveal layers below. Okay, and it's also located on the bottom of a layers dialog box. Okay, so those are the purpose. That is the purpose of the layer mask, to help us reveal layers below, to hide or to reveal areas within our various layers. Okay. Now we're going to come up here to opacity. Number 13, opacity. So opacity changes how much or how dark the vignette is. So you can see here that going down to like 50%, I lightened that black and now it's much more subtle. All right. And if I come over here to my puppy and I duplicate and I double click on it, removing the little lock, I can adjust that down. It doesn't look too good, but you can see that that's 50% of the dog right there. Alrighty. All right, the next thing is a layer style. I'm going to actually go ahead and I'm going to delete this layer by dragging it over here to my garbage. And I'm going to add a new layer, and I'm going to use my type tool over here. And I'm going to use a red font, sure, and a larger size font. And I'm going to put Cute Puppy. And some nice lettering. Put it right here. All right. Now, in order for me to move this cute little puppy word, I have to make sure I click on my Move tool, Show Transform Control, shows the lines around it, and I'll go ahead and move it. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I am going to, there's two ways that you can pull up layer styles. Okay, I'm going to show you the easiest way, and that is to just double click on the layer, and you bring up the layer style dialog box, and you have all these different options, and you want to double click on the word so that you bring up each option, all their various changes that you can do, distance, spread, size. So there's, each drop shadow has, each of these layer styles have different functions that you can change. Okay, there's inner shadow. You can see it's a little bit different. Outer glow is slightly different. Inner glow, bevel emboss. They all have different functions that you can change within that particular layer style. So you can see as I've gone through, it's just kind of automatically done stuff. I can cancel that out, okay, and bring it back up again. And I can go, okay, I want to drop shadow. Double click on that. Alrighty, let's see, I want to distance it a little bit, maybe spread it, make it a little blurry. That looks nice. I want an outer glow. Spread it slightly, kind of gives it a nice little outer glow along the edge of the doggy. Okay, and I'm going to make this bigger just so that you can see this better. I'm going to make this like 200. It's a little bit too big. 150, that's better. Okay, and maybe that allows you to see it a little better. It makes the letters just have a little more creativity, you know, it makes them pop, it makes them stand out against the background. And you can see all of them right here, all the effects. Okay. Another way to access is to come over here to our, make sure you select your layer, FX. And all those same tools are listed here, and they're saying, look, you've already used drop shadow, you've already used outer glow, what else do you want to use? Oh, maybe, no, not inner glow, maybe I want to use bevel emboss, and it's going to make it look really 3D if I use it, give it a real 3D look. I can have it hard chisel, or chisel soft, or smooth. I can do inner bevel, outer bevel. I think inner bevel looks good. And I can change the opacity of it. I could change the color of it. Okay. And I say okay, and there we go. So we've got bevel emboss, outer glow, drop shadow, outer glow, and bevel emboss. If I double click on this, it's right there. Okay. So make sure you make note of the two locations. And the whole purpose of layer style is to help make your objects pop out using different styles like drop shadow, outer glow, bevel emboss, or just a few. So you either double click on it to pull it up, or you click on the FX. Those are the two different ways. And that concludes our part 1 of Photoshop navigation.